Hello, everyone. Welcome to my recap and review of Drawtectives Season 3, Episode 3. And in this episode, we had a special guest, which was Elise Willems, who played my favorite character from Drawtectives Season 2, the NPC Harvey Hornswoggle, which was like this ringleader at a circus and had a great dynamic with Checkers. If you know and you were there, it was a great time. Elise has a very good use of playing with the world building. Like, she'll just immediately jump in a way that's so great and really play with the other Drawtectives.
Because it's the 60s, man.
No one even died.
We're fighting to survive out here.
It's the 60s.
I guess it could be.
I guess I don't know any better.
Apparently, it's the 60s.
Well, if it's the 60s, I guess we may as well.
Are you approaching Skeet from a place of wanting to be helpful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love helping
Oh,
people.
Skeet's I'm a solo artist. I'm not used to this kind of collaboration. Okay. And and then I got Porcino in there ruining my life, man. So, okay, well, yes, there are 3 artworks missing, and, maybe they'd lead to some kind of clue if you draw them all. I don't know. Maybe I've said too much.
So I was so excited to hear her voice and see that she was back. Oh my gosh, it was so great. Anyway, so we are at the Midnight Alley gallery, and the current crime that's been committed is not a murder, but a vandalism and theft. So the art exhibition, which is very much about rats, has been completely torn up with both orange and green spray paint, and the gallery owner, Toulouse Chemise, is basically wanting the Drawtectives to get to the bottom of it. And so they talk to Skeet Autobahn, who is the name of the artist whose property has been destroyed. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get into spoilers, but this genius of how Julia designed this episode it works on so many different levels. So, spoilers at the beginning, there are 2 kinds of graffiti and vandalism afoot. The orange and the slashing of paintings, and then the green mystery puzzle shenanigans. All of this is reinforcing that there's always multiple layers to what's happening in each episode. So the orange spray paint was done by the artist himself to be a publicity stunt to draw more attention to his art. And he claims that the reasoning he's doing this is for quote-unquote rats' rights, because he believes that he is doing this just cause. Now, granted, could he be saying that and really he just wants more eyeballs to get onto the gallery so that there's more money brought in so that he can pay off his large debts? Probably. But I do think there's part of Skeet Autobahn that does believe that he is representing this marginalized community in some sort of act of charity work. Julia has such an interesting criticism of this because it's something I think people see all the time, where an outsider tries to represent a community struggle without actually engaging with that community. Ipso ergo, is that the correct Latin? I don't know. Enter Pacino. So Pacino is the adorable rat that I think is a new fan favorite already, who is working for Autobahn in a way that is completely abusive. And so the artist is taking advantage of his quote-unquote gallery boy and making him work for him while berating him with insults and, just verbally harassing and abusing this poor little rat, and doesn't really care about him. And when this cognitive dissonance is brought up by York, the Autobahn says that, he only respects really high society rats and not low society rats. So he's looking at them as 2 different literal classes of people. And this is something that happens in real life, where people in positions of power and privilege will want to make money off of the vulnerabilities and the discrimination marginalized people go through, like their struggles, their stories. They'll put that in their own art, even though it's not representative of the artist's lived experience, and make a profit off that, even though it's not their struggle to talk about, you know what I mean? To give a real-world example, there's the artist Bo Bartlett, who is an artist that's very important in the American realism movement, like this guy's in textbooks and stuff. And he had a very, long and distinguished career until in one of his galleries in New York, he had this infamous painting called God, which was featuring a black man who he claimed was a symbol of God. And he got in trouble because basically the painting was meaningless. Like, he just said, oh, I painted a black man as God, and so here he is. And it's because all around him, a lot of people of color were starting to make more work to reflect their lives, and there was more of a, consciousness about the kind of art that was being put in galleries. So it was seen as very gauche and very meaningless, and it was panned by art critics, which sort of caused an end of his New York art career, and so he had to come back to Georgia to reshuffle, which is very interesting. But even though this person, it is a little problematic. I'm sure he's not a horrible person. His art was actually very influential to Amy Sherald, who is a black woman and grew up going to the Columbus Museum and seeing Beau Bartlett paintings. And, even though there may be some problematic or, interesting, questionable things about painting yourself as a black man in a painting, seeing a black person in a gallery was very impactful on her. So she went on to become an artist and eventually, is most famous, I think, for painting Michelle Obama's portrait in the Smithsonian, because, the National Presidential Portrait Gallery. And then also she painted Breonna Taylor on Vanity Fair, and she is so talented. And she uses the same history of magical realism in her paintings to this day, and trying to get, more black bodies in the paintings in gallery spaces and in museums. So that was a little side tangent, but I just think, is a way for people to think about how the art space moves and maybe some things Julia is trying to point or talk about. And maybe I just really want Pacino to go on to become an amazing artist and get put in all these gallery spaces and paint the president. Yeah, that's just my little fan fiction. Don't mind me. Back to the episode. So the Drawtectives figure out that there's a missing triptych, and if they can follow Snake's clues and then also replace the missing art which was on the walls, which include a very holy Jesus-like possum, which, means that just like the Cars universe, Jesus is in the Drawtectives universe, a rat, and then a perfume bottle, they're able to solve that. The next clue is behind a musketeer, which is a little possum statue made of copper, which leads them to another clue, which leads them to these amazing cards, which is, besides the fact that the story is well designed by Julia, I just want to take a moment to appreciate what a good graphic designer she is. So if you don't know, graphic design is actually a very unique skill that not all illustrators have. Like, I'm an illustrator, I can draw the boots down, but I am not a good graphic designer. It's a different skill. You don't want to see me doing it. And Julia has been known for her design work for a long time. The first thing that comes to mind besides her tarot cards is her amazing design work on the romance, sort of crack ship of Wallace and Gromit, and then the Bob's Burgers wife, Linda. I just love that design and all of the ornamentation around the framework of it. It's just so expertly done. And the thing about graphic design is that you're trying to do the most possible with the least amount of strokes or brushes, if that makes sense. Like, how can you communicate the most information with the least amount of imagery? And the way that she turned these spades into mice is just pure genius. Like, she used 2 dots, she put them in the clubs, and now they're all rats. Like, I couldn't have done that. I never would have done that. It's beautiful. It's like economic of imagery. Like, it's just so smart. And I just don't think we talk about how brilliant Julia is in this regard enough. Like, it's just so well done. And it's also giving like illusion, right? Because it's like both this poker game, but it's both a club and it's both a rat. And so there's all this duality that's going on. The same way that Skeet is both an artist and somebody who, in one sense, wants to help rats, but then at the very same time is kind of this bigot who isn't seeing the discrimination that the rats are going through and his own hypocrisy. I just think that's, very well done. So they get led to the final clue, which is inside this lockbox by York properly reading the puzzle. And at this point, I would say Rosé has fully figured out that Skeet has destroyed his own paintings. Like, she is already bringing up the orange paint and like, oh, you saying that doesn't matter seems suspicious to me. So they open the drop box and then they go to the door where there is a secret room, or just a private room rather, that the artist makes his work in. And so they get all of the little shadow clues that they've done so far, and they find out that the next place they need to go to is the Rat King. Now, this is when we get confirmation of the name The Snake, which is very exciting. So we know we're looking for the snake. We don't know the snake's gender. We don't know the snake's alliance. I'm going to predict that the snake is once again a mixed hero. It could be, like, I'm leaning towards they're actually just a good guy. But the fact that this doesn't only hurt, Autobahn's business, like if it only hurt his gallery and his, only hurt him, I would think that maybe this was an anti-hero or just a regular hero vigilante in the vein of like Robin Hood. But I think it's implied that Toulouse is a pretty upstanding lady who, we're upset that this is hurting her business. So I don't know, maybe there is a slight villainous motivation, but I think the snake is trying to take down the upper crust rats. Like, I think the snake is trying to topple Midnight Alley, and if we discover that Midnight Alley is actually owned, like it actually represents the elite, then maybe we want to be on his side to take it down. But if Midnight Alley actually is a community of people coming together to create a beautiful common space, then it's something we need to preserve and protect. But yeah, we find the duffel bag, which has the Declaration of Independence, which props to Karina's not ad-lib, but, improving skills, where she's like, oh, that's from the movie, America's a fictional world for the movie. I think that's such a smart device to explain why there's a Declaration of Independence, but America is a fictional place. Yes, but it's confirmed that the orange spray paint and also the X-Acto knives used to cause the slashes are done by Skeet, and he has his little confession because the Drawtectives figure it all out and piece it all together, which of course is super great. And then Toulouse fires the man, and yeah, sort of justice is restored. And then the last thing we're left with is Eugene actually saying that he knows what the Rat King, which was the whole puzzle, is, and that it's a valve, and that if they hurry, they can go to the Keepers Guild in order to figure out what's next. So, as for the Keepers Guild, I thought we were going to go to the bookstore next, but now Keepers Guild feels like either a restaurant or maybe we're going underground, because Valve makes me think sewer system. So we're either going to the sewers early or we're going to some sort of restaurant with a medieval theme, which is why there would be keepers. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, those are my guesses. And now I would like to hear your thoughts down below. What did you think of this current episode of Drawtectives? It's my favorite of the season so far, and I didn't think anyone was beating that second episode because it was just such a great self-contained mini mystery. But getting the layers and the metaphor and the, sort of political commentary is so juicy. I'm really enjoying it. So let me know your thoughts. Who is your favorite of the characters? And yeah, any theories that you have about Drawtectives down below. All right, bye. Special thanks to Anna Sophia Boyd, Axelius the Great, Bodhi, Blue Uwu, Bobby, Beck, Cake Daniel, Kay Clark, Christopher, Dabdudu, Aaron Martin, Dax Quinn, Emma Wee, Gay Jarris, J. Johar, JD Boy 2000, Johan, Kitsune Chibiko, Lucky Paradox, Melon, Mild Mothman, Mistake, Native Runner, Orion Amastasia, Pinecone, Potion Cellar Door, Rin, Scorching Ray, Sir Camelot, Smalls the Sax Jammer, Shenanigans, Tad the Turtle, Tarthliner, The Real Michael, Thumper Daytime, Tony, Tortilla Chips Tuesdays Anyways, Tuncher Katie Bean, and Tuppence Pies. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Nathan, and I'll upload a new video real soon. Bye!